Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 7 of the Disgruntled Geeks podcast, the most honest, critical, and sometimes cynical podcast you will ever hear. Man, episode 7, man. This is already 2 months almost that we've been doing this, man.
It is 2 months.
It's like, it's 2 months of my life wasted.
Yeah, but you're used to doing that, and so am I. So
Exactly. I would rather waste my time with all of you out there in listener land than do anything else with my time.
yeah, basically.
So, guys, this week, of course, you have me, Ronnie, and Ben here as usual.
Yep.
And this week we have another guest this week. I know last week, like everybody got so angry, like we got so much hate mail because it was just me and you, Ben.
We did.
No, we didn't, but we're gonna pretend that
Don't
we
lie to
did.
the audience like that.
We're gonna pretend that we did. So we had to bring somebody else back on, and I know you guys get tired of hearing me talk about people I met at Tupelo Con, which technically I didn't meet this young lady at Tupelo Con. I met her at Magic City Con last year, but she did come to Tupelo Con, and she is an absolutely phenomenal cosplayer. Like,
Yep.
I have yet to meet a cosplayer who puts as much detail into her cosplays as this lady right here, and that is Ada Gray cosplay. Don't sit there and shake your head no with me. Like,
No, trust me, I have seen some. I have seen some detailed costumes that go way beyond even what I do. So it's
right? But you like your detail is just like your stitching work. Like, I don't even know anything about sewing, and I could look at it and go, "Wow!" Like, that is some detail stitchery. Is that a word?
yeah, that works.
Stitchery.
Yeah.
So, well, tell us a little bit about yourself, Ada.
Well, I'm Ada Gray. I've been cosplaying for about. I have to think about it. I guess 6 or 7 years now.
Okay.
Like really cosplaying and doing like just. My family was always really crafty and stuff, so I was doing just different arts and crafts kind of stuff since I was a kid.
Yeah, your family does a lot of vending at a lot of different events, do they not?
We do.
And most of that is
Yeah,
is like
definitely.
homemade stuff that they sell, correct?
It is. Yeah, we have. It's my family, and we've got a couple of other people that put stuff on the table too, through the company that we use, Airship 67. And we do like handcrafted leatherwork. My sister does jewelry. We got another girl that does some different jewelry and stuff. My mom actually makes these really cute, like nerdy themed baby bibs, with,
Oh,
like
that
Pokemon and stuff on them. But everything on the table that we do is handmade or modified in some way, from found objects and stuff like that.
that's
And
awesome.
that's what we've pretty much done my whole, like I said, since I was a kid.
So
Yeah,
it kind of runs in your blood. Like, even if it's not cosplay, I mean, that's essentially what cosplay is. It's like just creating
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think that's one thing that kind of drew me to cosplay. Because I initially got into cosplay, and me and my sister, we dragged our parents to this anime convention, and Dad got into leatherwork because he met someone there and all that kind of stuff. And we decided to start vending because we were making so much stuff that we just we couldn't use all of it,
right.
and couldn't give it away. So,
So what was your first cosplay?
but my first cosplay was actually. I think it was from the anime, the Tsubasa Chronicle anime,
Okay.
and it was Phi Flowrite.
Okay.
Uh,
Which I've never seen the anime. I'm sorry.
it's like super old. So, and I read the manga. I was super into it then, and I've kind of moved away from anime now into. It's still great, but I just kind of drifted off into video games and a lot of live action stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, you have a
Always been
Celine
into
cosplay that
fantasy.
is phenomenal.
Mm.
Your
That
Cel-
that was one of my favorite ones. It's really fun both to wear and I really enjoyed like making it and working on it. And
you
I was able to try out a lot of different stuff, and kind of like what I was saying before, that was kind of what drew me to cosplay, is that I got to use. I have like 1,000 hobbies, and I get to use a lot of them in cosplay, or things that I learn in those hobbies go towards helping me kind of figure out how things work
right.
in some of those costumes
Hey,
and stuff like that.
one of the things that I really like about your cosplay is like I feel like you really kind of push some of the boundaries of what most people consider traditional cosplay. Because like the first time I met you, you were in a genie cosplay from I Dream of Genie,
Yeah.
and it's like
Yeah, that one's a lot of fun.
I've never seen anybody do that cosplay before.
Yeah. Well, when I was looking at it, I saw there were a couple of girls who had done it and did a really great job. They were fantastic. But I'd never seen one like especially like around my area,
Right.
and that was another thing that was kind of went back to my childhood. I grew up on I Dream of Genie, I Love Lucy. My mom loved that show, so it was always on growing up.
Right.
Like Bewitched and all that kind of stuff. All of the old kind of sitcoms from around that time.
Hmm.
Awesome.
And Genie was something that was just so much different than a lot of the other characters that I cosplay that are kind of the big bad warriors and
Yeah.
strong.
Well, I've noticed that you've got some dark characters in your cosplay collection.
Yeah.
It's like Morgan from Dragon Age Origins. Like,
Right, yeah, that one was a lot of fun too.
have you seen that one, Ben?
No, I haven't.
You should, because you played Dragon Age Origins, right?
Yeah, I did.
Dude.
That's the only Dragon Age that I played.
Right. Her Morgan is it's pretty lit, man.
Okay.
I just
I'll
used
check it
lit.
out.
Oh my god. I quit. I'm not podcasting anymore. I'm gone. Ben, you're taking over.
I'm taking over. Oh, that's a
We'll
mistake.
give it this one time.
You know
Yeah,
what
I've
else
been
was a
on the
mistake?
internet too
You're
much.
using lit.
Yes, that was a huge mistake.
Why
But-
don't you just dab right now to seal your fate? Yeah, it's done.
See, and that's what happens, all of you in listener land, if you don't watch the live show. You don't get to see me dab. You have to watch now. You got to come
Yep.
watch it on Twitch.
Dab in shame.
Okay, guys. Hey, Ben,
Yo,
what you been up to this week?
well, this week is more than usual, but today I said I was gonna paint, and then I realized I was to paint stormtroopers, which is the most boring thing in existence. So I played a lot of Monster Hunter today,
Oh, yeah,
and
well, that's like your every week now. It's like Monster
Yeah.
Hunter. Hey, there's
Well,
nothing
I
wrong
mean,
with that. That game is
no,
phenomenal.
like I only just got my PlayStation 4, so it's like I still only have the one game. You have the other game I have, which is God of War, because you're borrowing it.
And you
but-
know you know how much I've played it in the last month that I've had it?
Not enough, because we can't talk about it.
2 hours. I've
Yeah.
literally like
Play more of it.
Yeah,
anyway,
I'm sorry.
So it's good that I did log into Monster Hunter today, though, because I didn't realize that they have their summer event going on.
Oh,
Uh,
what's the summer event?
Summer event is called Summer Twilight something or another. It has nothing to do with vampires or ponies. But what it is it's just everything's decked out in sort of summer attire. So all of the attendees, the handler, even the palicos are in summer wear. Like the cats have like Hawaiian shirts on and they have a little hat.
I approve of this.
Yeah.
Cats in Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah, you can actually get that gear for your cat if you want. The main thing with it is they're using this, and I'm hoping they do this with other holidays, so like Christmas time and anything else. They are bringing back events from before where you can do them again to get like kind of DLC gear.
Right.
So like I got the Horizon Zero Dawn gear for the hunter and the cat, so now my cat's a robot.
Okay.
I've also got the Mega Man Pixel cat gear, which is the most horrifying thing in all of Monster Hunter. And then I also did the Devil May Cry, so I've got the Dante costume now. So all of those sort of events that have gone by are back again for this holiday.
Okay. Well, hey, that's always a good thing for
Yeah.
games like that. I know it's not technically an MMO, but those online games that have events to bring them back so that people who missed it the first time, that's always a good thing. But you mentioned painting stormtroopers a while ago.
Yes.
And like, I'm sorry, I just get like this image. Like, I feel like you need to record you painting stormtroopers. And why is my camera got all fuzzy on me? You see that?
I do see that.
But have like you're painting stormtroopers, and you should be talking like Bob Ross with like really soft music going on in the background, and you're just like, we're gonna put it on a happy little tree.
Yeah, what it's going to be is, we're going to paint him a happy little frowny face as he goes to crush the terrorists that threaten the Empire.
But yeah, Monster Hunter, man, it's.
But I have like 6 squads of stormtroopers to get through.
It's just a few. It's just white. Come on, just slap some
No,
white
it's
on there. It's
not.
all
They've
good.
got the black eyes and the joints and everything else, and
Right.
then
Silver in there too, I think.
Some, but then you also get like the really crazy. At least I'm not doing like the really crazy extended universe stuff where you've got the 501st that have like a blue stripe here and like blue patches here and there and a bunch of other
having to do
stuff
Phasma,
people do.
like that metallic silver.
You'd have to get the right silver for that.
Right. So Ada, what have you been up to this week?
This week I haven't been doing a whole lot, honestly. Doing some crafting here and there. Like we mentioned earlier, I work with my family and doing a company like leather work and things like that. So I've been trying to do some restock for the table there. I did go to New Orleans last weekend. Went to the Museum of Death down there. It was really fun.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, like, what all's in that museum?
Death.
Well, I mean, do you like walk in there and it's like I was about to make like a really cool
you walk in there and the Dark Souls you have died.
Yes.
There. Exactly. It's like a portal straight to the afterlife.
Yeah.
But no, it was really cool. They had a lot of like a good variety of stuff from like serial killer memorabilia, some of their clothes and things from a few people, like really old embalming tools and kits like that.
Are there any bodies there?
There is a mummified head actually.
Oh.
Yeah, that one was like I almost missed it. My sister, I went with my sister and her boyfriend and like a friend and stuff, and we were kind of walking around, just wandering around checking stuff out. There's a ton of stuff. I really want to go back one day, and like so I have time because there's a ton of stuff up on the walls to read and like information and stuff like that, and letters. But I'd love to go back. I didn't really have time to read because they were going to close soon. But I was kind of wandering around, and my sister was like, "Hey, there's a mummified head up here."
Yeah.
Like, I was just like instantly.
Do they have shrunken heads?
Pardon?
Do they have shrunken heads?
I think there was a couple of them.
That is like one of those things, like shrunken heads. Like I always think of Goosebumps, like the old Goosebumps series that had the shrunken head in one of the episodes. Like that's always like my first thought.
I think of Disneyland's Jungle Cruise because they have the animatronic sort of tribal guy who offers you one as you're exiting the ride. And
that, really, that seems really dark for Disney.
It does.
Well, I mean, every one of their classic cartoons all of classic cartoons are dark in some way or another.
Very true.
That's true. Like I rewatched The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, that's like their darkest movie.
I was like, man, this is a lot darker.
That is their darkest movie, easy.
I know, yeah. Like I know the original story was like super, it gets real in there, but I had forgotten a lot of details in the animated movie. I was like, wow, Disney figured that out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Bambi's mother gets shot.
Yeah.
Like, wow. And I'm not gonna lie, that kind of traumatized me as a kid. Like,
I think it did a lot of people.
Yeah. When is the hunter going to be a Kingdom Hearts boss?
That needs to happen in Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I was like seeing the cosplayers. Like a lot of them go to Dragon Con. That go as the hunter that killed Bambi Mom.
Those villains.
You
They
monster.
go with the villain groups, and it's so cool.
Yeah.
Right. It's what's sad about that is the hunter's really not a villain though. Like he's
no.
He's just a guy that's hunting, trying to get some food. Now, of course, PETA would say he's a villain, but I can also say that PETA sucks because we're not looking for sponsorships from him. So for them,
no.
Speaking of sponsorships, we do have a sponsor now.
What? Nobody told me.
Yes.
Is it A&W Root Beer?
It is not A&W Root Beer.
Then why are you telling me?
But it's actually better than A&W Root Beer.
I question this.
Tupelo Sports Cards.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That is pretty darn good.
So Tupelo Sports Cards, they decided to make it rain a little bit on us, and what am I doing this week? As far as the phrases I'm using, I've been on the internet too long. But yes, Tupelo Sports Cards decided to sponsor us. And so if you're in the Tupelo area, you want to pick up some hobby games like Ben, you want to pick up some Magic cards like me. If you like, the more sportsy stuff like actual sports cards, like the name of the business says, drop over to Tupelo Sports Cards. You can find them on Facebook. They're absolutely amazing. Anthony is just a phenomenal guy. So check them out for sure.
You'll probably see me there sometimes too if you go in on Fridays.
Right. Don't let that keep you away. But
don't worry, I'm banished to the back room, so they wouldn't even...
But yeah, so this week, I actually meant to mention that sponsorship at the beginning of the show, so it's like, now I'm going to go into like what I've been up to this week.
You did the Talk is Jericho. We're going to go right into a commercial break, and
it sounds like it's still part of the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this week, I've kind of been going back in time a little bit.
Back in time?
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Grand Theft Auto 5 here this past week. I don't know what really like brought me back to it.
Can we consider Grand Theft Auto 5 going back in time now?
Well,
is that how old it is?
Like a few years back in time, because like I played it a whole lot when it came out and just put it down and never went back.
That's
to
true.
It. And so it's like, you know, I put over 100 hours into it when it first came out and just never touched it. So here I am, like going through the story mode again, just like shaking my head at Trevor the entire way.
Yep.
Like that game, like.
Well, I remember you were really big into the races whenever you played last.
Yeah, and this isn't even online. Like I'm just doing the story mode again.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's. I forgot how horrible that story is as far as like how far they push it.
It's not great.
Well, no, the story's good.
Oh, okay.
But it's like Trevor drops his pants, you know, at one point.
It's super effective.
There's a guy that gets covered in feces at one point, and I mean, it's just like it's so irreverent, and I'm just like,
it's borderline Saints Row.
Oh, it really is. Like it's almost like Grand Theft Auto 5 was their response to Saints Row.
That seems like a fool's errand because Saints Row has gone way past the point of being able to be challenged on that front.
Right. But yeah, I mean the game is phenomenal. It's just bad. They you could tell they were like hoping, like there were so many hooks in it. They were like, is this going to be the next big controversy? What about this one? And it ends up being the torture scene, which really wasn't that graphic in my opinion.
The most vanilla of the controversies.
Right. So guys, there has been news, and actually, Ada is the one that brought this up to me. I did not even know.
Well, enlighten me.
And I just wanted to we want to talk about it a little bit this week. That there's been news about a Halo television series.
Oh yeah, they were doing that, weren't they?
So Ada, what do we know about that right now?
What I've seen so far, I don't know if there's been more about it. I mean, it's been off and on for some kind of adaptation, you know, whether it's a movie or a TV show or something for I think 5 years now.
Right.
But I saw earlier this week that it got greenlit for Showtime, and it's going to be like a 10-episode, 1 hour, like a drama. And they named an executive producer and a couple of writers. Originally, I think Steven Spielberg was going to be an executive producer.
Yeah, he was the one that talked about it when they first said it was going to be a thing. Yeah, at the Xbox One reveal.
I think it's still. I don't think he's an executive producer now, but it's still going to go through his production company.
Right.
So I guess he's going to have a little bit of involvement.
Yeah, and let's just hope that turns out better for him than Falling Skies did. Let's be honest, because like he was the executive producer of the first season of Falling Skies, and that was good. But then by the time they got to the end of that show, I'm sitting here going, "What in the world? Like, what acid are the writers dropping for
Couldn't
this?"
tell you.
So,
I haven't got a chance to watch that one, but I've seen shows kind of go on that path, and it's always it's so terrible when a show starts out like it's really really great in the first season.
Yep.
And then it just...
In video games, we call that David Cage syndrome.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, but that does portend a pretty good start for Halo because of the fact that if Steven Spielberg's attached to it, as long as he's attached to it, he's gonna want it to be quality.
And I think they're really gonna give it, especially Showtime. They're gonna give it the budget and the attention that it really needs, because that's the big thing that I think. Or one of the big things that I think could hurt it is, you know, subpar CGI and kind of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. What channel is it going to be on?
Showtime.
It is on Showtime. Mm-hmm. See, that's, you know, that's not quite HBO budget level, but I have a feeling that's going to be a lot better than cable budget.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not like like a sci-fi channel kind of a thing.
The Covenant won't look so silly that it's just you can't take it seriously. Although I imagine all the guns will still look like they came out of a toy store.
Probably.
Yeah,
probably if they follow the.
Yeah, I think they did that in the video games on purpose though, to sell toys. Like
probably, yeah.
Make them look like toys, so they're easy toys to make.
Well, and there's probably also playing into some of the elements of guns are scary, but virtual guns are even worse. So if we make them look like just what you can find as a Nerf or a squirt gun,
toys, then
it's
a lot easier to sell toys of them later.
Yeah, it won't be so bad. That's why you don't really see like, hey kids, here's your human battle rifle. Don't shoot little Timmy with it.
So, what do they do for a television show? I mean, I know that they haven't talked about it a whole lot, but like, what time frame do you really do in the Halo universe? I feel like everything that's important's kind of been covered.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the novels that I've not read the novels yet. I really would like to, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
I've read kind of like the Fall of Reach, like the first kind of trilogy that came out, which was Fall of Reach, the version of that was the game, the book, like it's just the first game in novel form, and then the one right after it, and that's about all I've read of the Halo ones.
Okay. I've heard really good things about them, and like the graphic novels and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
I just never got around to picking
Some of them are pretty good.
Okay. I'll just have to check those out again. But I know there's kind of some speculation on whether they'll kind of go right into a straight game adaptation, starting with Master Chief and everything at the beginning, or if they'll kind of back it up to the start of the whole Covenant conflict.
In all seriousness, if they do like a game adaptation, like season 1, Master Chief needs to have a pistol that he can just snipe everybody with, and then all of a sudden in season 2, like every time he shoots something with the pistol, like it just bounces off of him.
Yeah,
like,
pistol's garbage.
Make it happen.
Well, I'll tell you the other route that has not been discussed of what they could do for a TV show that's Halo. Red versus Blue live series.
I'm sold. I'm sold. Like, let's call Rooster Teeth right now. Like, get on the phone with Showtime. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So,
who plays Caboose?
Jim Carrey.
Okay, sure.
I just like Jim Carrey. Sorry.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so that's one of the things that really before you could really get a feel for like what exactly or how good the show's going to be. I think that's going to be one of the really good first indicators is like when is this going to take place? I think if it's an adaptation, I think we should start being a little worried. Video game adaptations never work.
Yeah, no, and it's
not
boring
really
for everyone who's already played the games.
Exactly.
I mean, the story. I really love the story. I played when I started playing Halo. It was for the story instead of the multiplayer, unlike most of my friends. But I really like the story. I know a lot of people love it, but.
Right, and then if they do an adaptation of the games, but they change a lot, then people get mad because you changed this and you changed that.
So I think it's going to be kind of hard to balance the content of the games and the story that's already in that most people already know, and maybe some stuff from the novels and stuff that wasn't quite covered to kind of put something fresh and new in there.
Right.
That to keep people entertained that do know the story really well from the games without making those people mad because it's super.
It does seem like the novels then are something that you should pull from more because then, as you said, people aren't really familiar with that so much because not many people would have read them as compared to who's played them, and that gives them a chance to have a little more creative control and have not people be very mad at them. It was like, why did you change this?
Yeah, exactly. And they can still pull from something that, as far as I know, most of the novels are technically canon to the game.
As far as I know.
As far as I know.
I don't really keep up with Halo canon. I mean, the phrase Halo canon just sounds weird.
Does Halo even have an established canon? Like,
I'm
sure they do.
I don't know if it does. But,
you always get into that problem with like extended universes when you have novels. Is it's like, are those novels canon to the games?
Yeah, especially when it's not just set in the universe, it includes characters from the games.
Yeah, because it's the novels of like, we're going to talk about this other Spartan who is conspicuously absent during all the events where more than one Spartan might have been a good idea.
Right.
Yeah, like what's...
I don't know.
It's kind weird things that comes up when you have, like you said, like extended universe novels and stuff like that, and then got the graphic novels on top of it.
Right. And like, how do you really do a drama in the Halo universe with it being so action oriented? The Halo universe has always, that's because it's a shooting game. It's action oriented.
Exactly. That's one thing.
Like, is it going to be a political drama? Is it going to be a war drama?
I think it depends on the relationship. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
I think I was going to say it depends on what relationship they set up between the humans and the Covenant.
Right.
I think so, and also kind of, and I think the novels also flesh it out a little bit further. Sort of the earlier days of like the Spartan program, and where they're going to go with that.
Oh.
Because in the games, at least initially in the games, I think Halo like 4 and maybe 5 fleshed it out a little bit more.
You actually don't really need to do Covenant, because I think in the first book they were talking like the main problem, I don't remember what the Navy is called, but they were having problems with like colonies of Earth having to deal with like raiders and people who want to declare independence from Earth and that kind of thing. So if you and like the Spartan program was the solution to that initially, so you could start there and have the big stinger be like, oh my god, there's these religious crazy aliens coming to murder us all and the world's on fire.
Interrupts everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be an interesting thing. And it also sort of falls into like, in the early games, it's easy to forget that Master Chief and all the other Spartans are, I mean, they're still human.
Right.
They still have, even though Master Chief isn't talking about like what he thinks about what's going on and all this kind of stuff, he's just kind of doing his job. It kind of, like, I think they'll be able to kind of explore further.
Right.
Into like him as a character more so than just,
it's we know so much, and I've got a hair sticking out there. I'm sorry, guys. It's one of those things where it's like we already know how strong Master Chief is. If Master Chief is going to be a character, it's like we already know his heroic strength. We know he can literally fall to the Earth from orbit and survive.
And he can flip a tank.
Right. And he, because of the Spartan training, I mean, he's essentially Captain America in an Iron Man suit.
He's a space marine.
Right. And so he, we already know all that. Like, if he's going to be a character, I want to see some weakness. And the biggest way you do weakness is through his humanity.
Exactly. I think they could explore kind of, who was he before the Spartan program? And,
They explore like his life before the Spartan program and sort of how the Spartan program steals away his humanity.
Yeah, exactly.
And the fact that, before you really got to see the Spartans in actions, like a lot of the Marines were not very trusting of the Spartans and really kind of treat them as outcasts.
See, that's where I want it to go. It needs to be like just the Spartan training of Master Chief. That would be an amazing show. Like, you have like the first scene is like the shark attack on the first day of basic training in Space Marine school, and Master Chief is just getting hammered by this drill sergeant. I'm sold.
I think that would be a really good way to make the show interesting for everyone, because you can appeal to like all the war drama kind of aspects of it, and I think that would be a good thing to include.
And kind of speak also of the moral bankruptcy of the creator of the Spartan program, because the one thing to remember is like she does kidnap Master Chief John as a child and a bunch of other children to turn into these. Like, she just straight up kidnaps them.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
It's not like,
wow.
It's not like they, this was a volunteer program kind of a thing.
No. It's like she goes around, she travels through space and like finds candidate kids. And it's like, that one. And then when they're ready to start, they just kidnap them.
You ever notice, like, in video games, any of those, like, special programs like that, like, they're always evil underneath it all? Like, look at Vault-Tec, the Spartan program. Like, there's always, like, nefarious things going on behind the scenes. Like
it's never
basically.
Just, we just want to help people.
Right.
That's in there, but...
It's less about we want to help them. It's like they'll thank us later.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
The ends justify the means.
Precisely.
So, hey, that kind of, hey, Ben.
Yo.
You want to know a bad segue?
Okay, here, let me hear it.
Hey, the ends justify the means, which is what assassins do, because they kill people for the ends. And we're going to talk about Assassin's Creed. I'm going to start doing this every week to you. every week.
That is the worst.
Was that worse than last week's?
That's just the worst I've ever heard.
No, I kind of wanted to, our time is kind of getting away from us. And I did want to spend a little bit of time talking about the new Assassin's Creed game.
That is a thing.
Because I
think that was Ubisoft's biggest announcement at E3.
Yes, and
I think so, yeah.
And I will say, as someone who is not an Assassin's Creed fan, I've played a few of them, and just never was able to really get into it. 3, Connor just made me want to throw my controller against the wall as soon as he was introduced. Me and Connor, yeah.
No. Connor's the best.
He whines all the time. Like, that's all he does.
He had reasons.
He had reasons, but it's like, okay, we get it. Your family got killed. Like, I don't have to hear it 60 times. But no,
else family got killed? Batman.
Yeah. He doesn't whine about it all the time. He just
no,
goes
he broods.
Yeah.
See, I'm not a Batman fan, so.
I'm not either, so there we go.
Brooding
That's what we'll connect. But
I prefer
this is literally the first Assassin's Creed trailer that I watched and was like, okay, I'm excited for this. Because I love Roman history.
Yeah.
So, Ada, you're a Assassin's Creed fan, right?
Yes, I've been playing, I think since the second one came out, I think, is when I first got into it. But it's one of my favorite game series.
Okay.
And I could go on for days about it, but
hey, nothing wrong with that. That's
I'm related to people who actually do that.
Yeah.
Go on for days.
I try to keep it in check.
So Ben actually could probably go on for days with you about it. It just would be from the knowledge that he's absorbed from them.
What Ben will do is just tune her out and just retreat to a space where I just hear the waves of the ocean and seagulls and just not hear a word she's saying.
Just let it wash over you.
Yeah. I've gotten quite good at that.
Yeah, don't worry, Ada. I'm used to him doing that to me. So yeah. Okay, so like tell us a little bit like what you thought about the trailer then.
I think it looks really interesting. It's definitely really different from older Assassin's Creed games. And I haven't gotten to play Origins yet, actually. So
I've heard it's insanely good.
Yeah, I was super excited about it.
Well, I think the thing with Origins and now with kind of this one is I noticed that the series was in a little bit of a slump once they really got to the Victorian era sort of London. They just kind of stuck. But ever since Origins, it feels like the series has been revitalized, going back to ancient history.
Yeah, well, they kind of took a hit with Unity, the French Revolution one that was right after the third game.
Yeah, I remember that.
Which is
actually
probably my least favorite out of the series.
It was also incredibly buggy, from what I remember.
It was. Even I played it like a year after it had come out, maybe even more. And I was still having problems with just different bugs. And
I do remember seeing like YouTube compilations of like the hilarious bugs you get in that game.
Yeah, like I had more problems with it than the third game, which I got like right after it came out, and a lot of people said they had problems with that game, but Unity was much worse for me.
I think there was always I think there's just an issue with that series in general when it goes to the modern times, and that's actually I do like I jump on Connor a lot because I didn't like his character, but really that's one of my biggest problems with 3 was the fact that it was more, I say modern times, and I know it's not like near modern, but in that modern era, it
was a lot closer than.
Yeah, once you introduce gunpowder being just a normal thing, I think it loses some of its luster. Like,
yeah, the technology creep requires major adaptations to sort of what it is to be an assassin.
Yeah, you really have to adjust how, the original games, you had stuff like throwing darts and stuff. It kind of limited you on, how close you had to get before you could.
The other big thing, too, is, it's one thing to cause havoc by killing somebody and running away from guards with swords. But when all the guards have guns, why are they going to get into a sword fight with you instead of just shoot you?
Yeah, like,
So here's a concept, though, okay? Like, imagine this.
Right.
It's, of course, the next Assassin's Creed game I know has already been announced, but it's like, it's the next Assassin's Creed game.
Okay.
Assassin's Creed Sniper Unit.
I'm done imagining it.
It's just Call of Duty.
Yeah.
No, it's
But we
not
call
Call
it
of Duty.
Assassin's
It's
Creed.
it's the what was it? The Sniper Elite game.
Yeah, Sniper Elite. There we go.
Yeah.
No,
That was one thing. Like, I know a lot of people wanted for a while. 'Cause, you know, there's always, every time a game comes out, there's always speculation or like, what do you want to see? And a lot of people wanted World War II or something like that.
They want the obligatory assassinate Hitler mission.
Of course, exactly.
You know, that would be like a really good idea for the Assassin's Creed games, is like an alternate history kind of thing. Think like, you know, Quentin Tarantino and Glorious Bastards. You kill Hitler, but like somehow like it all goes crazy. And then, hey, you get to bring in an early version of the anima, and you have to go back and stop yourself from killing Hitler.
Yeah.
Pay me money.
It would be cool, like DLC kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like they did the like the China and India, like little short. Kind of.
Yeah, and then in terms of like alternate World War II, it could almost go borderline Wolfenstein, where it's like the Templars have the crazy technology that is revealed from the Pieces of Eden, things like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you want that right now, then may I present to you Wolfenstein, the series.
Wolfenstein's so good.
The New Order is fantastic.
Yes. But yeah, I'm really excited about the whole Spartan aspect. Like,
I read an article earlier that included somebody had played a demo and they were talking about the combat, and they said you could actually Spartan kick enemies.
Of course.
So
I was like, yes, I'm here.
Sure.
Like, please tell me that our main character is going to be named Leonidas. Like, just make it happen.
You use his spear.
They're actually descended from Leonidas.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that's why they have like his spear tip is the dagger
it's like,
in that game.
It's just like a sword.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's one way that they're kind of differing, sort of from past games. You know, in the Syndicate, the Victorian, like London one, you had two protagonists that you could kind of switch back and forth with.
Yeah.
In this one, they're kind of doing something similar where you have like a male and a protagonist.
Yeah, it's what if this character was born as a guy, and what if it was a girl?
I think so.
Hang on, time out. We got a time out in the conversation. Did I hear a cat?
Yes, my cat.
We have to see the cat.
It wasn't my cat.
Let me open the door and see if she'll come in.
So once again,
this is how you get points on the internet.
So listener audience, those that are listening on the podcast, this is why you have to tune in live, because you get to see cats.
You miss cats.
You miss cats. You also missed Rose a few weeks back.
You did, and that was the real crime.
Okay, she ran off to look for attention somewhere else.
Okay. Well, you don't get to see cats, so.
Never mind.
Come back. I'll
you missed nothing.
But we'll go back to Assassin's Creed until she shows up.
Right.
Hopefully the internet gods will bless us with a cat today.
Maybe so.
But yeah,
super into, like, she wants to be in the room anywhere with people.
The cats are great. Cats are great. What else is great is just Spartans. Spartans in general. I love Greek and Roman history. Like that whole time period. Just if there was an Assassin's Creed game they needed to make to get me to try Assassin's Creed again, that was it. So I'm like now looking at it going, okay, everybody's talking about how good Origins is, and then this is coming out later. I may need to play Origins. Like, well played, Ubisoft. Well played.
Yeah. I might pick up Origins now.
I'll probably pick it up soon because it's one of those things, like, I've really wanted to pick it up and play it, and just life.
Right.
Yeah. I just swore off Assassin's Creed series, and then, you know, my sister and my father all play it, and then they were just nonstop talking about how great Origins is. And it's ancient Egypt, which ancient civilization, you can't go wrong, so, yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
and I thought it was really interesting with Origins how they were going to explore kind of the beginnings of the Assassin Brotherhood and all that kind of stuff. That's the only thing that kind of I'm not sure what they're doing with this newest one, is that it's set. I don't know exactly how far ahead, but it's actually set before Origins. So I'm not sure how it's going to tie in with the actual, like, Assassin Brotherhood
Right.
kind of a thing.
I guess we'll have to play it to find out.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, that's it's
A lot of new stuff in it that I think is gonna be cool. But
Yeah, I feel like they're opening up a lot in the Assassin's Creed universe.
They are. I've been reading like kind of the new stuff that they're going to include,
Yeah.
like romance options and different dialogue trees. Kind of similar actually. It sounds really similar to Dragon Age in a way.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and like turn in my man card real quick because I am a sucker for romance in video games. You give me romance options like Mass Effect 2, like Garrus and Shepard forever. Like I'm talking, I hardcore shit people in these romances.
I'm dead inside, so I don't do romance in video games.
I go back and forth. Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, this is really cool, and I go for it like in Dragon Age, and then sometimes I'm just kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
I don't particularly care about it. It depends on the characters, I think.
Yeah, and I think in Dragon Age, the way that it fed into the story made a lot of sense. At least in Origins. Yeah. Inquisition, Dragon Age Inquisition romance was just weird to me. It felt a little forced.
There were a lot of, I don't know. I didn't like most of the options for Inquisition when I played it.
Well, I know we're chasing a white rabbit on this, but we do that here. What made me mad about Inquisition was the fact that, like, I felt like my dude would fall in love with the female dwarf scout that, like, you interact with at the beginning of each map. And, like, she's not even a romance option, but you get to flirt with her through the entire game. I was so mad.
Because I was looking, like, when I was playing, my sister's super into Dragon Age, so she played all the games before me. She was like, "No, you have to play it." And when I finally did it, I was like, "Why can I flirt with her if I can't?"
Romance her, yeah.
It's not an option. Like, what? Or it was the same. Like, there were characters. They have some.
Maybe your character is just subconsciously a heightist, and just like, no, they have to be.
Like, I'm gonna...
Maybe that's a flaw.
Like you're tall enough for me to flirt with you, but not to date you.
Yeah,
like...
you're kind of on that line.
You must be this tall in order. Well, not actually this tall. That's not very tall. It'd be more like this, but.
Yeah, my guy was also one of the little demon guys with the horns. I can't remember what the race is called. So my guy was really tall, so it was kind of like
the not tiefling.
Yeah, the not tiefling. So here's something funny though with Assassin's Creed. Hey, I have to ask this: since you are an Assassin's Creed fan, like, are you a big enough fan to have liked the movie or to hate it?
See, you actually put effort into that segue.
I try sometimes.
I was initially really excited about the movie because
your first mistake.
Yeah, that was my first mistake. And the further it went, the more I was just like, oh no. This is problematic.
Don't worry, you've learned the lesson about video game movies. They're never good.
Yeah, you would think I would have, because I've watched a lot of them, but no. I had hope for Assassin's Creed. I had hope.
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
Well, can you imagine, like, okay, you know how you feel right now with that. Like, can you imagine, like, 10-year-old Ronnie playing Street Fighter, like, for 20 hours straight almost one weekend, and just, like, it's the first time he's ever discovered it. And he's like, this is the greatest thing ever. Like, falling in love. Because Street Fighter 2, which is still the best Street Fighter. And so I go to the I go to the video rental place. Yes, those places actually existed back in the days.
You could rent consoles too.
And we rented a VHS tape of the original Street Fighter movie, the only Street Fighter movie, for good reason. Can you imagine the disappointment, like, in that little boy's heart, like, as that movie, like, got halfway through it, and he's just sitting there like, this isn't Street Fighter. Was it something like that?
Yeah. Except, I don't know about the Street Fighter one. There are some video game adaptation movies that I've seen that I'm like, well, okay, this wasn't the greatest, like, game adaptation, but it was an okay movie.
Right.
Like, I know most people disagree with me, but that's how I feel about the Prince of Persia movie.
I think that one was like the one that got the it was all right, and that's like the highest of video game movies ever gotten.
Right.
Yeah.
It was
like I really liked it, but as an adaptation, no, it wasn't super accurate or anything. I liked it as like a, it was inspired by the story of
Yeah.
and elements of it.
Right.
You get some like that, and then there are some like the Assassin's Creed movie that where I was just like, what? Who is this movie for?
Yeah.
Because there wasn't really enough backstory about about Abstergo, like the company, and the Animus, and who the assassins are, and all this kind of stuff.
I mean, they had to movie-fy the Animus because otherwise, like, those entire scenes would just be Michael Fassbender just laying there.
Just taking a nap.
Yeah. So I get that change. I really do.
Yeah,
but...
I wasn't crazy about it, but, like, I got that. But it was just, like, for people who haven't played the games, like, what are they getting out of this? Cause, like,
I mean, that's the problem the Warcraft movie had, really.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've heard about it too.
Honestly, the Warcraft movie, if they wouldn't have tried to pretend that it was Warcraft, that would have been a great fantasy movie.
Well, their first mistake was ever thinking that Warcraft 1 would ever make a good story for a movie.
Right.
Like, no, all your best stories are in Warcraft 3, which is a problem because it has established characters that you miss out on a lot of. Yeah. Maybe China can bail them out to get to Warcraft 3 where they actually get to the good stories.
Now, video game adaptation movies, I mean, it's just never a good idea. Like, anytime I see that, and it's kind of funny. It kind of ties in both of our topics today with Assassin's Creed and Halo. I think a television show actually works a little bit better.
Yes.
And I hope that Halo can prove that. And maybe that will mean that we get some of these video game stories actually told in a a cinematic media in a way that makes sense.
There are a lot of games that I've looked at and kind of been like, well, this would it wouldn't make a good movie, but it could be a great like a TV show or a miniseries, or something like that, where you have enough time to really spend on story and kind of stuff like that.
Right.
Rather than a movie where you've just got you've got your 2 hours and that's it.
So you have 2 hours, which is good for a singular plot, but not necessarily for world building.
Right.
Yes, especially with like fantasy RPG kind of games.
Exactly. Now, I will tell you, y'all want to know what my guilty pleasure video game adaptation movie is?
Okay, what?
Every single Resident Evil movie.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Like, they're just fun.
That actually was not as surprising as I thought it would be.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I love the Resident Evil movies.
Yeah, they're just so fun. Even the bad ones, you leave like, okay, that was fun. It was terrible.
I imagine people have to look at it the same way you do because that's why they keep making them.
Yeah,
that's why they've been making them.
That's the reason why they still make Marvel movies.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Sorry, I just made a lot of people mad. Like all 30 of our viewers are like mad now because
we have 30 viewers.
Well, not 30 listeners of the podcast.
You scared them all away. Now we have to start all over again.
Right. But it's I really do think that video game adaptations, I don't think it's necessarily a problem with the medium. I think it's the fact that like these screenwriters and these film producers, they keep trying to bash their head in the same way. Let's try to tell this story that was told over a 40-hour video game and a 2-hour movie and hope that works. It doesn't work.
No.
And people are so hesitant to commit to like a trilogy kind of a thing.
Right.
Which is why I think TV shows are the easiest. You get like the Halo series, they're getting 10 hours of content to spread stuff out on.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is a good amount.
I mean, it's even like adapting books to movies. There are some books, like Harry Potter's a good example, that really adapted well, but for the most part, a lot of books just don't adapt very well. But you look at something like A Song of Ice and Fire. It adapts.
As a movie.
Not at all.
Oh God.
It just adapted really well as a television series.
I was also going to say that the thing that also helped Harry Potter was that it was really well done in terms of it could adjust to changes being made to it to adapt it from book to movie. Right. And those changes worked with what the end result was. The only exception being taking out the World Cup match in the fourth one, but that's another issue entirely. But like things like Ice and Fire and stuff, like it would not adapt well to, drastic changes or just whole sections cut out in a Game of Thrones movie. Like, that would just be a disaster.
Could you imagine them actually trying to do the first book in a movie?
No.
In one movie?
And neither could Martin. That's why he never gave the rights to Hollywood.
Yeah. I mean, you would lose so much, not just because the books are massive on their own, but
well, they would sanitize it too.
Well, but even then, like, can you imagine, like, would Ned Stark? Everybody here's seen it, right? I want to make sure that at least my
the first season of Game of Thrones.
Cool. So it's been out for like 9 years, people. Okay, spoilers are coming for Game of Thrones. But would Ned Stark's death really have been as shocking in a 2-hour movie? Like, would it have as big of an emotional impact?
Yeah, I think it wouldn't, because a lot of the
I don't think so.
People who were first watching the show who hadn't read the books or anything, obviously, and especially because his death comes at the end of the season, it creates such a question of like, well, what's going to happen in the next season, because he was the main character. What's going on.
Right.
Whereas the movie, it's kind of like, well, that was the end of the movie anyway.
Yeah, so, like the good guy lost. Like, well, that was kind of sucky.
That was a dark ending. Oh well.
Yeah.
So I wonder where they're shooting his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's and that's something that I think that maybe maybe Halo is kind of the beginning of the industry starting to notice that there is a way to tell these stories that you don't have to try to force it into these small movies because I mean there's so many video game stories that I feel like could be told movies to hit a different crowd than the video game crowd that need to be told
to a whole new audience.
Right.
I still hold out. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
No,
man.
I was gonna say I'm still holding out that at some point we do get the Rise and Fall of Arthas told to people who haven't played Warcraft 3.
Yeah. Oh, think of that like as a trilogy of movies. Like, I think that would adapt to movies very well.
It might.
Yeah.
So
a lot of it is just will they commit to that, to a full trilogy of 3 or more movies?
Well, if it's in bold letters that this is Arthas' story from Warcraft 3, the fan base is going to be there, no matter how bad the Warcraft movie did.
But the problem with that is you're going to get some cocky screenwriter that's like, well, let me put my artistic touch on this. And make it into my own, and then make some sweeping changes that make absolutely no sense.
Yeah, or you get stuff like what happened with The Hobbit, where they're like, let's put a love triangle in there, or let's add all of this.
I mean, the Warcraft 3 already kind of has the love triangle though, because Arthas, Kael'thas, and Jaina. No, but I understand where you're coming from, because The Hobbit was Peter Jackson's prequels.
I tell you what, one day. And Ada, I'm going to invite you back for this. One day we're gonna have a podcast where we're going to talk about Peter Jackson for 45 minutes, because I'm right now I'm kind of shaking over here trying to contain all of the frothing hate that bubbles out of my being anytime that Peter Jackson or any of his works are ever brought up.
Peter Jackson kicked Ronnie's dog, for those that don't know.
So
he was just walking that dog one day, and then Peter Jackson, just all 600 pounds of him, just got out of the car and just kicked that dog.
Like, I swear, I was at Abner's the other day, eating with Jamie, that's been on the podcast before, and another gentleman, and Peter Jackson got brought up, and I swear the entire restaurant was staring at us because I'm over there.
Peter Jackson himself walked in.
Yeah. So that would be an interesting episode, just the Peter Jackson episode of the Disgruntled Geeks.
Yes.
Are you a fan of Peter Jackson? She's like, how do I answer now? Is he gonna come over here and kill me?
Well, okay. I really, really love the original Lord of the Rings trilogy. They're my favorite movies, solid. I will always love those. Which, of course, Peter Jackson directed, so I have to give him credit for that.
Right.
And I did not hate the Hobbit trilogy like a lot of people did. There were a lot of aspects that I didn't like the extra stuff, the love triangle, and, all that kind of stuff. But it was, I understand where a lot of the criticism comes from, of stuff that wasn't super necessary to that story, and it maybe only needed 2 movies instead of 3. You can take all the
added junk out. Yeah. I got to the troll scene and I had to quit the first movie. Like, I couldn't take it anymore. Like,
Yeah, it's about where my dad gave up on it.
it was, I don't know. Like, and I've heard multiple people say that that's about where they give up on it because it's like,
yeah, I just said that.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like, not just your dad, but multiple people, I think, actually talk about, like, I've heard multiple people say that. But I think they're,
I didn't mind the troll scene too much,
but I don't think it's necessarily the troll scene itself. It's more like you've got to a point to where you've seen like all of these changes and you're thinking, okay, they've changed one or two things here or there. And then you get to the troll scene and like the changes that they made to the troll scene weren't like egregious. But then that's kind of the point where I realized like everything's going to be changed.
Yeah,
like
that's...
go ahead.
That was the moment where it's like, it's not going to get better. It's going to go downhill faster and faster.
It's like you could see Peter Jackson's signature in every scene. And it's like, I don't want to see Peter Jackson's signature in every scene. I want to see Tolkien's signature in every scene.
Right, yeah. And I think that was where I think their biggest mistake was they let both Peter Jackson and the studio kind of put a lot of extra stuff in there that, like I said, wasn't necessary, just to put their like artistic spin on it. Or whatever, and it just doesn't.
Well, they made the mistake of being arrogant because they had already gotten Lord of the Rings out, which was critically acclaimed. Everybody loved it.
Yeah,
so it's like, we can do whatever we want with it, and they'll love it because this is the Peter Jackson Hobbit, and everyone liked Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings. So
and I think it showed too that if I remember correctly, Peter Jackson didn't really want to do the Hobbit to start with. They went through like several directors. Guillermo del Toro was originally gonna, I think.
Oh gosh, no. I love I love del Toro, but like not on Tolkien works.
I thought it was a weird choice. But finally, like Peter Jackson kept saying, no, I'm not interested in that. I don't really want to go in as a director. I'll go into the producer. I'll help.
I want to make more boring movies like King Kong.
Yeah. I think that was kind of, and I think because he didn't really want to do it and kind of got roped into it. I think it showed because there wasn't as much care put into telling the story the way that it could have been told.
The Shadow of Mordor games are a better Tolkien story than Peter Jackson's Hobbits.
Right. We said those are actually pretty decent games.
Yeah, but that's still saying something.
Right. Well, the big thing is I think you hit the nail on the head, Ada. Is that there was actually care put into Lord of the Rings to make it feel epic, to make it feel like this big adventure, to make it feel, really fun, even though like most of the time they're just walking. And it did have that fun factor. Whereas the Hobbit,
humorous moments
and the Hobbit just was like, okay, guys, here we go. Let's go fight this dragon. And we're gonna make him voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch to try to get people to watch it.
Let's try to get as many big name actors and returning actors from the old movies. They tried to get so many cast members.
Right? Wasn't Aragorn in the trilogy?
Aragorn?
Aragorn, yeah, not Aragorn. Aragorn.
No, they wanted Viggo Mortensen to come back really, really bad, but he wouldn't do it because they were using so much CGI. Actually, I think.
Well, good on him, anyways, because it's like Aragorn was not in the Hobbit at all, so it's like, thank you.
I was okay. I had a lot of people who were like, "Oh, I can't believe that they stuck Orlando Bloom back in it." And I was like, well, that's sensible. I understand them wanting to have a few actors from the original trilogy back into it to sort of tie it and get people coming back for it. And he was around in that time period. That's where they went to Mirkwood where he lived.
Right.
So I was cool with that. It was just where they started into all the romance and the love triangle and Tauriel, and that was where it really went downhill for me.
Right.
That's my biggest complaint.
Well, guys, it looks like our time has caught up with us.
As it always does.
Yes, it always does. I'm really looking forward to when we can potentially, we've talked about it for a couple of weeks. We are working on getting some streams together for you guys to where we'll have some more content created. There has also been talk of a second show.
There has been.
But we haven't. I haven't necessarily hammered down whether or not that's going to happen or when it's going to happen. But I can now announce our Patreon that it has been launched.
Oh boy!
We've actually already got one patron on there. And you guys, all you gotta do is go to Patreon, search the Disgruntled Geeks. We will show up. If you want to give anything, that's totally up to you. It is not obligatory. You do not have to. We're not going to sit here and tell you that you're a horrible person if you don't. But
we like to think of our Patreon as the best toilet you could possibly flush your money down.
Exactly. I mean, our first tier is like the worst dollar you will ever spend. So I mean, it's as little as $1, which is like 25 cents an episode. That's a pretty good deal. So help fund our dream of having Starbucks on the podcast.
Or don't.
We're not going to judge you either way.
Even we don't really need Starbucks anyway.
But Ada, definitely was just a joy to have you this week.
Yep.
I think we're going to have you back.
I'd love to come back. It's been a great time.
Awesome. Well, hey, tell everybody out there where they can find you out there on the social medias.
Okay. Mostly, I just use Facebook and Instagram, and you can search on Facebook either for Ada Gray Cosplay, or the URL is Ada Gray Cosplays. I had to add an S on the end for, I think, a character limit. And then on Instagram, it's kind of a catch-all thing. I just kind of use my personal one. So it's Dusty_Lee, Leah. And there's, honestly, I never know what's going to go up there. It might be cosplay stuff. It might be a random craft. It might be pictures of my nail polish.
Well, we enjoy your updates anyways. Like, whatever it is, I can say as someone who follows you, we enjoy them. So.
Yeah, well, those are pretty much the two that I use. I haven't really branched out into, like, Twitter or anything like that yet.
Cool.
But, yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, as always, we voiced a lot of opinions in this episode. So what we want you to do is we want you to right now think about whichever one made you the angriest. Go on Facebook, put a comment on the post of the podcast, and tell me that I'm wrong. Tell Ben that he's wrong.
I personally hope you pick the Peter Jackson opinion specifically
right,
for my own amusement.
Please do. I'm looking at you, Whit. And Whit, we did get your big long email essay, but I would normally try to get your thoughts out there on the podcast, but it would take the entire podcast to read that. So we definitely appreciate it, Whit, that you reached out, gave us your thoughts on the hobby gaming stuff, and we want you to do it again, just in 140 characters or less. But we definitely appreciate it, Whit. And guys, if you do put your opinion out there, we will feature it on the show as long as it's short, concise, and easy to read. But guys, definitely appreciate all the support you've been giving us. I do have one more thing to ask of you. If you've been listening to the podcast on iTunes, go on there, rate us. I'm not even going to be like all these podcasts that say, go give us 5 stars. You know what? If you hate this show, give it 1 star. I don't care. But tell us how you feel. So put it out there, what you think about the show. Okay, guys? But that's got to be the end of it. Ben, you got anything else you want to say?
Not particularly.
Okay. Well, guys, until next week, stay disgruntled. And don't forget to look out for all the content that's coming from the Disgruntled Geeks podcast, the most honest, critical, and sometimes cynical podcast you will ever hear.
Now, quick, before you dab again, end the show. Nope.